In today's video, you're gonna learn how to have aim so sticky that whenever you kill enemy operators in the DMZ, they're gonna call you a cheater. The breakdown of this video is gonna be simple. First, I'm gonna give you my controller settings and do my best to explain why they are what they are. Then I'm gonna give you 3 tips that if you use, I promise you, your aim will improve drastically. So first, let's walk you through some of these controller settings that I have. The first thing that you're gonna notice that what I have different to you is my button layout. I play on tactical button layout. What that means is my traditionally crouch button is actually my right stick. So I have to press down on my right stick in order to crouch instead of B or circle if you're playing on PlayStation or Xbox. So now in order for me to melee someone, I have to press my B or circle button. The reason I do this is so when I want to dive or crouch or do anything drop shot, I don't have to take my thumb off of my right analog stick, which is the stick that you use to aim. So because of this, I can crouch, drop shot, dive, slide, all without losing my ability to change the direction in which I'm looking. Moving on, my bumper ping is off. My stick layout preset is set to default, which is the default way the controllers come. My controller vibration is personally on. I know a vast majority of my friends that play this game at a high level actually do not like their controller vibration on. It messes with their ability to shoot straight. For me personally, I do like it. I like the feeling of knowing when my gun is being shot. That is a personal preference to you guys. But when it comes to trigger effect, I have it off. And if you don't know what trigger effect is, basically if I hold down my right trigger to shoot, there's going to be a little bit of a resistance to it the more I pull it down. So I don't want that on at all. Now, this is something that a lot of players do not do, and I'm just a weird oddball with this, but I use a horizontal stick sensitivity of 9 and a vertical stick sensitivity of 7. The reason I do that is because it is more important for me to be able to look left and right than it is for me to look up and down. Now, there's so many people that think I am crazy, and understandably so. This is something that I would just encourage you guys to think about. But if you're playing on anything under vertical stick sensitivity of 5 or lower, I'd encourage you to bump that up, or at least work on having a process of bumping that up. I'm honestly thinking about working towards going to like a 12-10 sometime soon, but you do want to have a faster horizontal and vertical sensitivity so that you can sweep left and right a little bit better. Now, the next thing you probably don't have set is an ADS sensitivity multiplier to 0.85. What this means is that when you are moving left to right aiming, there's not going to be as much of effect as you're moving your analog stick. Now, this is something that they've implemented in the last 2 Call of Duties, and a lot of players haven't caught up with it yet if you aren't looking for it, or if you haven't had videos explaining why this is important. Now, I don't touch anything with my sensitivity multiplier all the way through because it doesn't really matter. And then vertical aim axis, everything is standard. Now, getting into some of the things that are important for gameplay, my aim down sight behavior is hold. My change zoom shared input is sprint, tactical sprint, focus. My automatic sprint is always tactical sprint. Some people don't like this. I do because I'm a fast player. Equipment behavior is hold. Weapon mount activation is ADS plus melee. Interact reload behavior. This is something that if you weren't into Warzone and you haven't changed your settings much, this might be one thing that I really encourage you to change up. Take it from tap to reload to prioritize interact. The reason why you're going to want to do this is so that when you're looting things, you don't have to hold down your square or X button as long to pick up the materials. Instead, it just picks it up right away with a simple tap. That's why I'm looting or buying stuff from buy stations, that it's so fast because I have this prioritized interact on. The only thing to know is that if you're trying to res someone who's pleading out, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to switch this back to tap to reload, and then you can hold down your revive button in order to bring them onto your team. Now, when it comes to aim assist, something we're going to talk about a lot later in the video, we have our target aim assist on. If this thing is off, there's no wonder why you cannot hit your shots. If you are playing controller, you need this to be on. Aim assist type is default. Early in DMZ, Warzone 2, and Modern Warfare 2, a lot of people had it on Black Ops. That got nerfed. You want it on default. Third person ADS, we don't do third person DMZ. Yo, put it in the comment sections below if we think that there should be a third person DMZ. I think that'd actually be sick. Now, when it comes to aiming, put your aim response curve to dynamic ADS sensitivity multiplier to 0.85, and ADS sensitivity transition timing to instant. This should be on instant, but these two you are going to have to change. The next thing that we're going to want to talk about is input dead zones. Now, the reason this is important is there's moments in which your controller might just be moving on its own, whether you're walking or the gun is swaying or moving to a different direction. You're going to want to play with this a little bit. Basically, what this means is that your controller has stick drift, and in order to make there be less stick drift, you're going to want to bump this up. If your controller doesn't have stick drift, you're going to probably want to bump this down. And now for your left trigger and right trigger, you're going to want to have them as low as comfortably possible. All it takes for me in order for my triggers to go off, in order for me to shoot a gun, is just a small tap. Now, some people don't like that. I understand. Maybe just bump this up a little bit to like 0.05, but this is just my personal preference. Now, when it comes to all this gyro aiming stuff, I've never used it. I don't really know anyone who has used it, so just keep it all as it is. Now, for our movement behaviors, I don't necessarily know what default is, except for one, and I promise you, you need to change it right now. Scroll down to invert, slide, and dive behavior. Click on it. Make it go from standard to inverted. Basically what this is going to do, whenever you tap your crouch button, instead of having to hold it down in order to dive, you're just going to tap it and you're going to be able to dive. So when you want to slide, you're going to have to hold it down. This is a specific thing to MW2 because of the movement, but you'll be able to dive so much more because dives are more important in order to get behind cover than slides. Before we move on to the tips, there's one thing I need to talk to you guys about because I've seen way too many DMZ players not have this done. This will be life-changing. Find your graphics settings and then go to view. We're not going to go through all the graphics settings because a lot of you guys are on console, so mine's going to look different than yours, but we have to get this changed. What you're going to do is you're going to take this field of view, which for you guys, if you've never touched it, is at 80, and you're going to bump it up. I play at 120. That means I have the biggest field of view. For some of you guys, I would encourage you to maybe start around 105 to 110. And then for ADS field of view, you're going to move it from independent to affected. And this is going to make it a little bit more zoomed out and you're going to have less recoil, visual recoil for you. That's why so many people are calling me a cheater, is because they're like, oh, your gun has no recoil. It's because you don't have these settings on. My settings make it look like I have less recoil. The recoil pattern is still the same. It just looks less. And that's why it's easier for me to hit shots. Please, please, please make sure you have first person camera movement to least. Whenever I've seen clips of people playing, there's weapon motion blur and stuff like that all over the place, and it drives me crazy. The game's going to be so much easier to see if you have this turned down to least. Now, moving on to our tips, please know that these things implemented over time will, I guarantee you, help improve at Call of Duty drastically. So our first tip of the day is going to be simple. You're going to load up your game and find a private match in multiplayer. You'll create a private match, go and pick team deathmatch. Next, you're going to click game setup and make sure that the map that you're going to play on is shipments. You're going to go into game rules, bump up the time limit all the way to 45 minutes and make the score limit 300 points. Now you're going to scroll over to where it says team and put radar always on to constant. Now, once that's done, you're going to press B or circle and back up and click on bot setup. You're going to go to Cortac and put in 6 bots at recruit difficulty, the lowest difficulty possible. Once you've done this, you are more than welcome to load up into a game. But listen to what I have to say next. The next 300 kills is going to be your warm up every single day when you load up Call of Duty. Once you get into the game, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your settings, go to controller, go to advanced, and you're going to turn off target aim assist. So now for the first 100 of the 300 kills you get in this private lobby, you're not going to have aim assist on. What this will force you to do is it will force you to practice without aim assist. Promise you, it's going to feel weird. You're going to feel like you're trash at the video game, but by the 100th kill, I promise you it's going to be worth it. Now, once you've reached 100 kills, you're going to be a lot better at shooting without aim assist on. So until you reach 200 kills, you're going to be aiming for the head every single time without aim assist on. Now, you're not going to hit it every single time, but this will will create a habit within you where you will be aiming for the vital parts of a player's body in order to kill them. And then once you've reached 200 kills, what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your controller settings, scroll over to advanced, and turn target aim assist back on. And I promise you, your aim is going to feel incredibly sticky. Also, during this time while shooting bots, make sure you get comfortable moving around and shooting very quickly. If you're just walking around like this, it's going to help you a little bit, but it's not going to help you as much as you think. Instead, work on playing at a faster pace so that when you do play players, you'll be able to play them at a faster pace as well. Now, what gun do you use? That's up to personal preference. I prefer an SMG and specifically the Vaz. This is the build I use while shooting bots in a private match. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but if you want to use this, feel free to take a screenshot real quick. Tip number 2 is one that will take some thinking while playing, but over time will become second nature. And what this is called is mastering rotational aim assist. And to show you how it works, we brought in my beautiful friend, the Jay Broski. Jay, say hi.
What's up? How y'all doing? Oh, your skin ugly. You need better skin.
All right, let's relax. Okay, so Jay, if you wouldn't mind, stand right here if you could for me. Run over into this direction. If I just stand right here and ADS, Jay's gonna run across my screen. See what happens to my gun as he runs across. Okay, Jay, run. Nothing. Literally, my gun doesn't move at all. Now, Jay, go back to your original position. Now Jay's gonna run left to right, and I'm gonna move my left analog stick to the right as he runs. Let's see what happens. All right, Jay, 3, 2, 1, go. Go again. You guys see how my gun is literally sticking onto him as he runs back and forth. We're gonna do it again in this small gap. I'm gonna just stay ADS. Jay's gonna run across. Jay, run across. Nothing. I ain't moving at all. Now, I'm just going to move left and right. All right, I'm starting to move left and right. Jay, go. You guys see how when he runs across the screen, because I'm moving, he's just, it's locking onto him. This is why people call me a cheater. It's not that hard. When you shoot your gun, just move your left stick left and right in a circle, up, down. I don't care. Just don't stand still, please. Like that's literally what it looks like in real time. Look at this. It's sticking. So you might think, yo, you're cheating. No, the game's broken. We don't want this in the game. Please, Call of Duty, take it out. But until then, apply this to your game and you're gonna get called a cheater all the time. Now, tip number 3 is one where you might actually roll your eyes. But if you wanna get better, you're gonna have to do this, especially with the state of DMZ, with platoons everywhere and a lot of fights. If you're a solo, for sure, but even if you're in a squad of 3, you're gonna be outnumbered. After warming up, you're gonna solo queue into a Resurgence game mode. I know you play DMZ for a reason and you don't really want to play Resurgence, but this will teach you better than and faster than any other way how to fight multiple teams or multiple players at a time and be able to orient yourself enough to kill squad of operators in DMZ and ultimately over time platoons easily. And I'll let you know, you're gonna die a lot. But with the way Resurgence works right now, it's the same as if you play solo Resurgence as you do quads or trios when it comes to respawning. Back in Warzone 1, I played Rebirth Island solo all the time, and it's what propelled me into being the Call of Duty player I am now. And the thing that you have to be thinking about while playing this, the players you're gonna play in DMZ are not even close as good as those you play on Resurgence.